Well, hello and welcome to Wesley Park in Havant on the south coast as struggling Portsmouth face Newcastle United as the two teams promoted from the third tier last season meet in the Women's Championship for the very first time. It is a breezy autumnal air with a cold feel in Hampshire. It's certainly been a rude awakening for Portsmouth at championship level, and it could prove to be a long, hard season. Their opening three games has left Pompey with 0 points, 0 goals, and bottom of the table. Portsmouth, one of three clubs without a point, along with Sunderland and Sheffield United. Sunderland have also not scored, but have only played 2 games. Newcastle, by contrast, have adjusted well to the step up and have made a solid start, taking 4 points from their opening 2 games after a summer of strengthening in the transfer market, with most notably Jamaican international Shania Hales, who was playing WSL for Bristol City last season. Let's take a look at the sides then. 4 changes for Portsmouth from the team heavily beaten at Birmingham. 18-year-old Evie Annetts, on loan from Manchester City, makes her debut in goal. Izzy Collins returns to the defence, while summer signing Sophie Barker starts in midfield. Welsh international Emma Jones returns to Portsmouth's forward line. Just the one change for Newcastle, which sees the veteran Northern Ireland international Rachel Furness in for Charlotte Potts, who drops to the bench. Amber Keegan-Stobbs captains the team. Beth Lumsden faces the club she left in January to join the Magpies. She was on target in the win over Sheffield United, while Shania Hales has scored in both appearances so far for Newcastle. Now, Portsmouth won promotion after winning the Women's National League Premier Southern Division in emphatic fashion. Newcastle were every bit as dominant in the Northern equivalent, with both teams losing just the once in the whole of last season. Now, Newcastle are unbeaten in their opening 2. Portsmouth have lost all 3. Now, being in different geographical leagues last season meant that these two didn't face off in the league. They did fight out a National League Cup semi-final, with Newcastle edging it 2-1 at a packed St James's Park before going on to lose the final to #United at Luton Town's Kenilworth Road. So there is a bit of recent history between these two clubs, and it was Newcastle United who came out only just, though, with a 90th minute winning goal to send them to the final. A reminder how the championship fares this season: just 1 up and 1 down. There's only 11 teams in the league after Reading withdrew for financial reasons, so 20 matches this season to sort it all out. Portsmouth with 17 to try and save themselves. The last time Portsmouth were in the second tier, they were relegated after just 1 season, finishing 9th of 10 teams. They did spend 7 years, though, in the second tier from 2003 to 2010. Portsmouth in the traditional blue, Newcastle in the changed white and teal are the official colours. Well, both teams taking the knee ahead of kick-off, and it is Newcastle who get us underway. Wesley Park, the home of Havant and Waterlooville men's team, who play in the Southern League Premier Division. Side most famous, perhaps to most, for the team that twice took the lead at Anfield in the 4th round of the FA Cup back in 2008, before eventually losing 5-2. And the way this championship season has started, Portsmouth will certainly need some of that fighting spirit. Here's Demi Stokes for Newcastle. Now Hales. Suffered relegation from the WSL with Bristol City last season, Hales, before moving to Newcastle. Family of Aston Villa and Birmingham as well. Split across by Castley. And on by Coan. It's out of play, and it's a throw for Newcastle. Here's Rachel Furness. Such an experienced campaigner, 95 caps for Northern Ireland, 36 years of age. Made the move to Newcastle from Bristol City, along with Shania Hales, who she was relegated with last season from the women's top flight. Stokes was in a bit of space there. Furness helping it on to Andrews. Space now for Stokes. Little overrun though, and a goal kick for Portsmouth. Goal kick to be taken by Eve Annetts, who didn't feature in the opening 3 matches this season. On loan from Manchester City, where she's yet to make the breakthrough. Made 1 appearance for Reading, where it all began. Oh, and that's a terrible mistake. And Shania Hales has pounced on that from Castley. And beaten away by Annetts. Still under pressure here, Portsmouth. Hales again. And Reva Castley saved her blushes there. He stops. Newcastle very much on the front foot here. Stokes. Played back to Furness. Switched across to Cooper. And by Joel. Played out by Stobbs. It's a throw to Portsmouth, who could easily be a goal down now. Bit of a miscommunication in the centre. McQuaid picking it up for Newcastle. Here's Hales. Portsmouth will be all too aware of the danger she possesses. 3 full caps for Jamaica, was capped for England at under 19 level. Has won this division twice with Bristol City, as recently as 2023, and Aston Villa before that in 2020. So well versed in football at this level, Shania Hales. It's played forward. Newcastle on the front foot here, and beaten behind by Annetts. Amber Keegan-Stobbs suddenly found herself in the clear. Portsmouth defence just opening up and had a free run at goal. Must have considered a potential square ball to McQuaid, and McQuaid has got across to have that conversation. It's still a Newcastle corner. Deep delivery as well. And Portsmouth with 2 players down, which is Reva Castley, the centre-back. Last touch was off a Portsmouth player. It's a Newcastle corner. Deep delivery this time. Castley with the header away. McQuaid. Newcastle picking up all the loose balls at the moment. Now Lumsden swings the cross in and gathered by Annetts. The second attempt. Already been called into action twice early on here for Portsmouth. Newcastle tend to start quickly. All 3 of their goals this season in the Women's Championship have come in the first half, while Portsmouth have conceded 6 of their 10 goals that they've let in their opening 3 games this season in the opening 45 minutes. Here's Furness. Going long this time. Oh, poor touch from Castley. Newcastle in here with Andrews. And cleared away by Coan. It's been a nervy start from Reva Castley at the back for Portsmouth. 25-year-old defender. Annie Hutchins with the throw. Touch back to her by Erin McLaughlin. Towards Collins. Now Newcastle very quickly pouncing on Portsmouth. And they're in possession of the ball. Free kick for the home team. Well, Barker looked as though she was going to take it, but left it instead for a teammate. And here's Coan. To Collins. Fed on by Sophie Quirk. Wasn't a bad ball either, and Erin McLaughlin had made a run forward. Didn't get delivered the ball though. Portsmouth have a throw and an opportunity to settle down in the game. Newcastle have certainly been on top early on. Cooper across. Collins with the throw for Newcastle, Portsmouth rather. Just need some sort of confidence boost to Portsmouth. Tough game on Wednesday. They go to West Ham in the League Cup. And another trip to London to face London City Lionesses next weekend in the league. Following that, the next game here, the derby against Southampton. Claudia Mohan to Furness. And through the middle towards Andrews. Must get it away. McQuaid looking to pounce on the loose ball and did well. Came up with it, McQuaid. Fed it in towards Andrews. Newcastle certainly looking the livelier of the two teams.
I'm not wide, I'm wide-ish, but I'm not actually wide now. Yeah, got you.
It is Newcastle's first ever championship season. And they've risen very quickly from the fourth tier of the women's game. Here's Andrews. WSL target, of course. Here's what they want to achieve, but it's a very tough league to get into with only the champions of the championship promoted. Stokes. Into body. Now Hales settled in very quickly to life at Newcastle. On by Furness. It's only Newcastle's second season as a professional club. They turned fully professional ready for last season. And as a result of that, became the first professional women's team to compete in the third tier of the game. Certainly reaped the benefits of that with a dominant campaign that saw them win 19 of their 22 league matches and score 79 goals. Conceded just 11. Actually sealed promotion with a 10-0 win against Huddersfield. In the end finished 11 points clear of Burnley. They've kept that form going with a win and a draw in their opening two. Cooper. It's a free kick to Portsmouth. A little tug on the shirt. With Annetts. Newcastle. No messing around this time, just launched the ball forwards. Here's Hutchins picking up the second ball. A bit of space for Portsmouth to work with now. Back low to Hutchins. And Coan. There's Hornby. Crowd in front of that stand over on the far side, roaring Portsmouth and Hornby on. Given the pressure they've been under in the opening 11 minutes or so. Here's Hutchins. It looked like a foul. The referee happy to wave play on though from McQuaid's challenge. Newcastle. A bit of space here for Quirk. Running at Joel, gets the cross in, it was a good delivery. Furness with the header away. First time that Quirk's really had the chance to have a foot race with Lois Joel. Did well, found a yard or so to get the cross in. Rachel Furness there though to head it out. Portsmouth corner. Piling in on the goalkeeper to put the pressure on. And McLaughlin trying to turn it back in, but lost possession, and now Newcastle look to break here. Hales looking to release Amy Andrews quickly. Just overhit the ball though. Collins sweeping things up for Portsmouth. Quirk. Collins. Barker inside her, the centre of the three midfielders. Hornby couldn't get that. Rachel Furness seeing a lot of the ball early on, the experienced campaigner. Jones ran into trouble though. Here's Hutchins. It's been better from Portsmouth last few moments. Here's Coan. The lack of goals, the defensive frailties, the lack of points, even though it's just 3 games into the season, is bound to affect the confidence. A real jolt to the momentum gained by their dominant promotion season that saw them finish 9 clear at the top of the table of #United, the team that beat Newcastle in the WNL Cup final. There's McQuaid. Ball by McQuaid to Hales. And it's opened up for Andrews. Trying to bend it to that far corner. Off target though. Do look to have the more quality in the final third, Newcastle, when they get the ball forwards. Quarter of an hour gone. Portsmouth 0, Newcastle 0. There's Coan. Under pressure immediately by Andrews. Joel across to win it back. Finds Cooper. Touch back by Stobbs to Furness. Played out by Furness to Stokes. Now Hales. Stokes on the overlap. Hutchins going with her. Hales the intended target. Covered by Daisy McLaughlin. Small steps you feel it's going to be for Portsmouth this season. Of course, the one advantage they do have is that it won't be 2 down as it usually is in a championship campaign. It's merely a case of avoiding bottom spot and then consolidating in the second tier. Newcastle on the front foot again, shifted out by Stobbs. Cohen across and a timely intervention. And now Quirk launches it forwards. Hornby chasing. Too much on it though for Hornby. That's what they're going to have to look for though, Portsmouth, to try and break down the Newcastle attacks. I think they're going to have to accept that Newcastle will have more possession of the ball. And look to swiftly counter on them. Hornby, Jones and Quirk all capable of doing that. Joel. By Cooper. From Joel again. Now Joel with a throw for Newcastle. Lewis Joel, another of the players in the Newcastle squad with international experience, 5 caps for Wales. Joined Newcastle, making the move north from London City Lionesses, where she'd spent the last couple of seasons. Played for West Ham as well. Here's Stokes now for Newcastle. And now Hales. Into Andrews. Touch back to the edge of the box. Just wonder if Newcastle at times in these opening stages are guilty of overplaying it when they get the ball into the Portsmouth penalty area, which they're doing relatively comfortably. His body. Stokes. Portsmouth on the back foot again as that's driven across. Look, a real threat down this near side with Demi Stokes getting forward and Shania Hales coming across. Hannah Gardner, today's referee, on the edge of the penalty area. First match in charge this season, having been a 4th official and an assistant so far. Newcastle corner then. Done pretty well with the set pieces so far at Portsmouth. And now looking to counter. Quirk's made her way up the field. This is Casley. Cohen. Collins. Just looking to mix it up a bit. Quirk caught in possession of the ball though. Here's Andrews for Newcastle. Still looking for first goal of the season is Amy Andrews. Furness. For one into the penalty area. Too much on it though and easily gathered by Eve Annetts. Casley to Daisy McLaughlin. Furness quickly onto that. The loose ball falling for Hutchins though. Now Quirk. 1 or 2 on the far side, appealing for a free kick. Nothing given though. Not the best ball to Andrews. Eva Casley across to sweep up again for Portsmouth. Hutchins. Now Hornby. Last touch was off Stokes. It's a throw to Portsmouth. Hutchins. Clipped into Erin McLaughlin, who shifts it on one more to Sophie Barker. Out by Collins. And ran herself into a bit of trouble there, did Quirk. Newcastle come up with the ball again, but not for long. One back by Hutchins. Both teams at times have been pretty loose with possession. It's Hornby now. Just buzzing across that forward line, Megan Hornby, trying to get herself involved. Daisy McLaughlin, the intended target, and just too hard with the ball through. Otherwise, they may well have got in behind the Newcastle defence there, Portsmouth. Nice vision to spot the pass from Erin McLaughlin. Just too much on it for Daisy McLaughlin, her namesake. Furness. That's what Shania Hales is good at. Doesn't mind receiving the ball under pressure. Had two Portsmouth players at her back there. Joel. She was having the conversation there, actually, Furness, wasn't she? To say, yeah, I don't mind it under pressure, but perhaps not when there's two on me. It's opened up here, though, for Newcastle. And Lumsden wins the corner. Again, big gaps in the Portsmouth defence, which once more they closed down when they had to. Lumsden returning to Portsmouth, left for Newcastle in January. Away by McLaughlin. They're appealing for offside here. It's fed back into the penalty area, though. It's almost target practice at times from Newcastle. Portsmouth have a player down here. Newcastle continuing to attack, though. Here's Joel. Swings the ball across. Casley with the header away. Flick on by Andrews. Casley clears. Newcastle beginning to turn the screw a bit here. That was Deanna Cooper with the cross with the outside of the boot. It's Lumsden who had the shot. Lumsden, the only player other than Hales to have scored for Newcastle this season. She scored the opener last week in the 2-0 win against Sheffield United after just 5 minutes. Hales wrapped up the game with her second of the season. And it's going to be a Newcastle corner. Lumsden will deliver. Dangerous ball in, the goalkeeper's lost it, and it's off the frame of the goal. Still it's not away, and the whistle's gone. As the shot was fired in by Lois Joel. Eve Annetts got herself in a bit of a tangle there. Lost the ball. And then the ball slammed against the post by Rachel Furness, who was up there. .25.5 minutes gone. Portsmouth 0. Newcastle United 0. Becky Langley there, the coach of Newcastle, who's just signed a new long-term contract with the club ahead of this season. She's been in charge since 2019, guided the club from successive promotions from the 4th tier to the 2nd. Jay Sadler taking the opportunity as well. to have a word with his Portsmouth team. And the Portsmouth goalkeeper, Yves Annetz, is receiving treatment at the moment. Mishandled the ball and took a bit of a knock in the process. She's back on her feet though, which is good news. Both the teams going across to have quick impromptu team talks with their coaches. It's like the drinks breaks you see in the hot weather in the summer, but certainly wasn't one of those, given the cold wind that's blowing around Wesley Park. Good to see that Yves Annetz is okay on a debut for Portsmouth, the player on loan from WSL side Manchester City. Done okay, made 2 or 3 good saves, a couple of handling errors. Mitchell Furness going close to taking advantage, hitting the frame of the Portsmouth goal. Here's Hutchins. Header away by Cooper. Here's Stokes. And back with Furness. Claudia Mohan hasn't had a great deal to do in the Newcastle goal. You can see why they struggle to score, Portsmouth. They struggle to create chances. Here's Stobbs. That's a Joel. Fight for the loose ball. And Portsmouth come up with it with McLaughlin. Take back by Hornby. Cohen can restart with Collins. And possession again, rather cheaply given away. Throw for Newcastle. Here's Cooper. Joel. That's what she's had to do, really, Claudia Mohan, in this first half. Just deal with the back passes and restart the possession. It's only Portsmouth's second home game this season. They were beaten here 3-0 by Durham. They actually ended a run of 6 successive home wins, as Andrews is flagged offside. They'd been unbeaten at home since a 2-1 loss to Southampton in the Women's FA Cup in December of 2023. Watched by Annetz. Hornby hoping to get on the end of that as Furness hesitated. Furness, another player who's twice won this division, on the same team as Hales, that won it in 2023 with Bristol City, also won it with Liverpool the previous season. The body wants it back, but Newcastle not in a hurry. Here's Mohan. Half an hour gone, 0-0. Newcastle will possibly be disappointed not to have got their noses in front here. Here's Andrews, though, with the opportunity. Oh, it was a heavy first touch. That was a big chance for Amy Andrews to open her account for the season. And it was the control that let her down, and on the artificial surface, you don't get away with a poor touch. The ball just bobbling through to Yves Annetz in the Portsmouth goal. Hales. Stokes. This is Cooper. Direct ball this time towards Andrews. Castley with the header away. Portsmouth again losing out. McQuaid winning it back for Newcastle. Now Body. Joel. Cooper. Pressing by Hornby, but she's the lone presser, really. Furness Good touch to Hales, who plays it through to Andrews. The angle was tight, gets a second bite at it and fires it into the side netting. Two big chances in quick succession for Amy Andrews. Lovely ball from Hales, fine run from Andrews. But the angle was getting tighter and tighter. Annette's narrowed it. And it was a rather poor decision in the end, the second chance for Andrews. Portsmouth's goal remains still unbreached. It's Cohen. On by Collins. Just trying to shift it on. It's a throw for Portsmouth, which Collins will go across and take. Erin McLaughlin. Quaid winning it back. Helped on by Stops. Furness. On by Stokes to Hales. These two have caused problems for Portsmouth's right side the whole of the first half. Body tries to slip that through. It was a nice idea, but read by Castley. It's been a busy first half for Reva Castley. He could easily have gifted Newcastle the opening goal, and she trod on the ball and lost possession, but got away with it. Stokes with the throw. Andrews. And again by Hales. Now McQuaid. Clips it through to Andrews. And this time she does take the chance. And Newcastle United take the lead. It is Amy Andrews' first goal of the season. And at the third or fourth time of asking, Amy Andrews does find the back of the net. Well played by McQuaid. He's been busy the whole of the first half, clipped it through. Hutchins unable to cut it out. And despite Annette's best effort to close the angle, this time Andrews went high and hard with the finish. And it is Portsmouth 0, Newcastle 1. And you have to say a deserving lead for Newcastle. And Portsmouth find themselves behind again. Has been coming. Came up with very similar records from their respective divisions last season. Newcastle an awful lot stronger with their summer business. They could win here. 7 points from their opening 3 games. And their first ever championship season would be quite some start from Becky Langley's team. And by Joel. This is Furness. Stops. Cooper. Now Joel. Now the whistle's gone. Quirk thought she'd won the ball back for Portsmouth. It's the foul by Collins that the referee spotted. And 10 minutes to break. It's been a tough first half again for Portsmouth. His body. Back to Joel. Now Furness. Stokes. He's getting so much space down this near side, Demi Stokes. And they're in behind again. Andrews once more. The angle tightening all the while. Shifts it on though, and Hales just unable to prod it past Annette. But the chances are piling up for Newcastle. Lovely little flick from Hales to release Amy Andrews again. think it's too much of an exaggeration to suggest that Andrews could have had a hat-trick in this first half. It's tight for Hales to try and finish from there, with Annetts quickly off her line. It's another Newcastle corner, who are looking for a second here before half-time. Lumsden again. Tipped away by Annetts. Lumsden putting her under real pressure with the delivery from that side. Stokes, and Lumsden has stayed forwards. Annetts beats it out. Anywhere will do from Castle. Newcastle beginning to turn the screw a bit here. Andrews has got the breakthrough. Twice since then, Annetts has been called into last-ditch action, the Portsmouth goalkeeper. Furness back to Moen. Joel. Pressing for Portsmouth, they've won it back, but then Body recovered it for Newcastle. And here's Jasmine McQuaid, who's been really lively in this first half. Spreads it out to Andrews. Stobbs. Now Stokes. You can see the difference in quality between the two sides already in this game. Stobbs. McQuaid, clip it into the danger zone. Coan did enough to block it, and it's cleared away by Quirk. It's coming back as quickly as Portsmouth can clear it out. Body. Cooper. Now Joel. Lovely ball. Well covered again by Coan. Just preventing Stobbs from taking a touch and a strike at goal. Lumsden. Joel. It's a Newcastle throw. Portsmouth really being penned back now by Newcastle. Down the line for Lumsden. As was the last touch. It's a Portsmouth throw-in. Well, Portsmouth will have seen in this first half just how much Newcastle have improved since they met back in February in that semi-final at St James's Park. A 90th minute winner by Georgia Gibson to see Newcastle through after they'd taken the lead. Portsmouth got themselves level, and then Gibson scored the winner. Quirk. A few games now at St James's Park, and the locals in Newcastle have responded well to it. Here's McQuaid, showing good pace again, trying to square it to Andrews, and Oliver Castle again did enough to get in the way and clear it. Actually played their first match at St James's Park when they were in the 4th tier. It was a 4-0 win against Alnwick Town in front of over 22,000 supporters. Here's Cooper. Generally, they play their game at Kingston's Park in Newcastle that holds just over 10,000. By Castley. Now Cooper. Furness. Commanding game at the back, Rachel Furness. Who's capable of playing in midfield or in the back four. Daisy McLaughlin losing possession. Missed kick by Furness, but no matter. The loose ball was picked up by Body. Cooper. Now Demi Stokes. So much more fluid, the play from Newcastle. Here's Joel. Body in space. Joel coming in off the right. Here's Furness. On by Cooper. Joel. Been chasing shadows at times, Portsmouth, in this first half. Emma Jones and Megan Hornby, the front two, have seen very little of the ball in truth. Furness. Touch back by McQuaid. His Body. Newcastle just dominating those midfield areas. And by Stokes. Now Lumsden. Too many in blue though, and Sophie Quirk back helping out. Clears it away. All the way through there for Stobbs. Oh, McLaughlin had the ball temporarily, but Newcastle win it back very quickly. Looks like McQuaid's taken a bit of a knock. She was hobbling there. They could do without losing Jasmine McQuaid. She's been outstanding in the first half. Lewis Joel looking for options. And Cooper. Well, I don't think anybody's been surprised with how this first half has gone, given the respective starts that these two have made to the season so far. Portsmouth, remember, coming into this with 3 defeats. Yet to score a goal, yet to win a point. Newcastle a win and a draw in their opening 2. They've only played 2 because one team misses out each weekend, with there being only 5 fixtures in an 11-team division now after the Reading pull-out. So every team in this division will get 2 weekends off throughout the season. Lumsden delivers the ball in. Annetts punches it down, and it's fired back at her again by Andros. And Annetts has stayed down again. And we understand we expect 2 minutes to be added on at the end of this first half, but that could well increase now because Eve Annetts is down again. That 2 minutes will have been for the treatment that she's already received in this first half. Jay Sadler again getting his team across to have a few words. So indeed it will be 2 minutes added on. Now there's he takes the ball straight to the face from quite close range. Absolutely hammered that, Emmy Andrews. It's been an eventful first half for Eve Annetts. Some good saves, 1 or 2 pieces of mishandling. And that will go down as another save, and that was on its way from Andrews. Whether it was going in or not, it was hard to tell from the angle, but she was brave there. Of course, although the footballs are fairly light these days, it still hurts to take it full on in the face. I think she'll be pretty happy generally with her opening 45 minutes in the shirt of Portsmouth. It's going to be invaluable experience for her as she looks to try and break through at Manchester City. And indeed, as she moves on elsewhere. Only 18, so very young for a goalkeeper in particular. Cohen. To Annetts. Here's Hales. Daisy McLaughlin desperately trying to get back to her and did enough just to hold her up. Here's Stokes now. Stokes again. Body. Covered by Castley. Well, after a couple of early errors, has had a really good game actually, Reva Castley. Especially given the pressure that the Pompey defence has been under. Throw for Portsmouth. Hutchins with it. They'll certainly be the more relieved team to go in at half-time, despite the fact they're a goal down. It could have been much worse for them. Body. Difficult to see, though, what they can do, given the quality that Newcastle have to stem the flow of this game after half-time. Cooper. There's Furness. Now Stokes. He's got goal side of Hutchins. Fizzes the ball across dangerously. Haven't cleared it away. Driven back in by McQuaid. Well, could easily have been 2-0. Hutchins launches it forwards. Cooper gets it away. Knocked on by Quirk. Hornby will chase. Cooper across as Hornby waits for support. It arrives now from Quirk. They're just not getting forward in numbers, Portsmouth. It's Hornby or Jones almost individually trying to have a go at the Newcastle defence. And that brings some welcome respite for Portsmouth, who are trailing again, heading for a fourth straight defeat to start the season. Newcastle United certainly worth their lead, given to them by Amy Andrews on 34. They've had other chances though. It's Portsmouth 0, Newcastle 1 at half-time. Welcome back to Wesley Park, where Portsmouth are trailing Newcastle United by a 0-0 in the Women's Championship. Portsmouth heading for a fourth straight defeat and without a goal. 3.5 matches into the Championship season now, and the Hampshire club have yet to find the back of the net. And in truth, in the opening 45 minutes, didn't look like scoring either. Newcastle well on top. I don't think 1-0 really does Newcastle justice, how much they dominated that first half. Heading for a 9th game unbeaten away from home. Their last away defeat was a 5-0 hammering at Manchester United in the 4th round of the Women's FA Cup in January last season. Manchester United, who went on to lift the trophy at the end of the campaign. Neither side has made any changes for the second half. It's difficult to see what Jay Sadler's team can do really to try and stem the tide. Newcastle started brightly. There was a short spell about a third of the way through the first half where Portsmouth promised a bit without creating too much, and then Newcastle just got better and better. Hutchins with the ball forward for Portsmouth. And here's Reva Castley, who had a really busy first half. Touch off from Quirk. It's a Portsmouth throw. Nothing like the fillet of an early goal for Portsmouth to give them the boost they so desperately need. It's Barker. Now Castley out to Hutchins. McLaughlin. Space here for Collins. Portsmouth just switching up the possession. Now Quirk. Touch off on Jones. Spread out by Erin McLaughlin. Hutchins, the right back forward. Now Daisy McLaughlin. Fired the ball into the box. No trip there on Quirk, despite the appeals from the Portsmouth players and one or two of the supporters. It was a clumsy challenge. Quirk moves in for the loose ball here. I think she catches her foot, to be fair, on the surface rather than Alicia Body doing anything untoward. There's Joel. That's a good ball down the line to Andrews, who tried to release Lumsden. Andrews again. Collins. Here's Castley. Hale's retreating. Castley going forward early. Stokes was there to knock it away. I mean, all teams these days in the men's and women's game seemed obsessed with playing the ball out of the back, but you do wonder if a more direct approach here from Portsmouth would suit them better. Certainly be a different way to test Newcastle defensively, because they've not really tested them at all. Barely managed to play through them. Annetts. Here's Castley. Hutchins. Furness initially got something on the ball. Here's Jones. Goes for goal, Jones. Right, straight at Mohan. Better though. Well, it's the first time in the game, really, that Claudia Mohan has been called into a save of any kind, albeit a routine one. That was certainly more positive from Portsmouth. Emma Jones' first sight of the Newcastle goal. Stokes with the throw. Clipped on by McQuaid. Covered by Cohen. Annetts wastes no time in launching it up towards the halfway line. The header won though by Alicia Body. Body and Stobbs have been winning everything in there for Newcastle. McQuaid, the link between the midfield and the attack, has been super lively as well. Here's Quirk. They're taking quite a measured ball down the line from Quirk there to release Izzy Collins, who had made the overlap. Throw from Lewis Joel. Back with Mohan. Good connection on that. Andrews with the flicked header. Castley with the up and under. Hutchins wins the header but feeds it straight to the dangerous McQuaid. And McQuaid slides it through looking for Beth Lumsden. He's going to keep that in. Oh, nice try. Goal kick in the end. Newcastle went the whole of last season, by the way, unbeaten in the league. Away from home, I should say. Unbeaten away from home in the league. It really was an impressive campaign. Goodness me, Portsmouth almost playing themselves into trouble there. Annetts and Cohen between them. Collins winning it back. So with the throw, the head on from Lumsden. Out by Andrews. Newcastle preparing a change. You understand? Isabella Sibley warming up. I understand it could be Beth Lumsden coming off, the former Portsmouth player. 7 minutes into the second half, it's still 1-0. Sophie Hayward as well warming up down there for the Magpies. Out by Moen. Wondered if Jay Sadler may be the one to juggle the pack, but it looks as though it's going to be Becky Langley, the Newcastle coach. Andrews. Hales. Just overrun that, and Cohen across. Pressure on Collins, who did well to scuttle that ball away. Here's Quirk. Joel did well initially in the foot race, and the referee's whistle's gone. Was it out of play or was it a foul? It's Furness. Now Stokes. Touched out by Stokes again. Portsmouth get it away up towards Jones. Immediately pounced upon though by McQuaid. Rode the challenge well. Looked like a foul. The referee waving play on and now does call it back for the free kick. It's dangerous every time she gets it. There's Jasmine McQuaid. Trying to wriggle away from Castley, but the foul had already been given. Newcastle have a free kick. It's quite a way out though. It takes some strike to get the better of Eve Annetts from there. Players capable of hitting it though. Beth Lumsden, Portsmouth will know all about her threat. Rachel Furness not too far away from it either. You'd imagine it would be Lumsden. Driven in by Lumsden, it's too high though. No problem at all for Eve Annetts. And now Newcastle can make their changes. And it's Beth Lumsden who is coming off to be replaced by Sibley. It's going to be a triple change. And the goal scorer, Amy Andrews, is making way. And Sophie Hayward is the replacement. And Shania Hales won't be continuing her run of goals, having scored in the opening 2 games. She's now replaced by Katie Baker. So a triple change for Newcastle. Sophie Hayward, who's just come on, is a new signing from Sheffield United, formerly of Aston Villa and Notts County. And the 3rd appearance. Interesting move, though, to take off Hales and Andrews, who were causing problems throughout for Portsmouth. So they do face Everton in the League Cup in midweek, and then big match with Durham next Sunday. And then away to Sunderland, a couple of derbies on the horizon for Newcastle. Here is the substitute, Sibley. And Hayward. Picked up by Furness. Now McQuaid. Oh, runs through McQuaid. Just couldn't finish it off, though. Annette's watching it all the way, but impressive play again from Jasmine McQuaid. Quirk. Picks out Jones, but too much on the ball again. It's a throw for Newcastle. Pretty confident, Becky Langley, that her side are going to see this through, taking off Hales, Andrews and Lumsden. Joel. Nice bit of skill, but the final ball wasn't the best. Collins intercepting. And now Coan to Casley. Barker. Sophie Barker again. Attacked away by Cooper. Coan. Now Hutchins. And apart from that McQuaid chance, they haven't created too much since half-time, Newcastle. Portsmouth with that Emma Jones chance. Well, that remains at 1. There's still hope. Coan sliding in. It's a Newcastle throw, though. Launched away by Moan. Well, Newcastle just a couple of goals shy of matching Durham's 3-0 win here. Northeastern rivals. Joel turns away well from Quirk. There's Demi Stokes. Body in space. Furness. Here's Cooper. They look so much more assured on the ball, the Newcastle players, than those in blue. That was Stokes. Played for Canadian club Vancouver Whitecaps. Demi Stokes been about. WSL winner in 2016, 3 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, all with Manchester City. She's made over 100 appearances in the league for Manchester City. Stokes, 32 now. And you can see that quality when she's on the ball. Here's Casley, the Portsmouth captain, by Hutchins. McLaughlin. No way through for Daisy McLaughlin. And back with Stokes. Another of the really impressive bits of transfer business that Newcastle United conducted in the summer. Demi Stokes, Sophie Hayward brought in from Sheffield United, Furness and Hales from Bristol City. Deanna Cooper arriving as well from Reading, former Chelsea player. And Lewis Joel from London City Lionesses, the Welsh international. Significant strengthening all around the team. A risky one from Mohan, but picked out body. On by Stokes. Erin McLaughlin rather trying to win the loose ball. Foul committed though, it's a free kick for Newcastle. And I think we'll be eager to score themselves a second goal. Second half performance hasn't been quite as dominant as the first. Here's Furness. And that's going to be another free kick to Newcastle. Completely changed their forward line now with Baker, Hayward and Sibley all on. And Sophie Barker's been shown the yellow card for that, the first one of the game for Portsmouth. Free kick then for Newcastle. Interesting to see who takes this now that Lumsden's not involved. Plenty forward here in white, 5 in the Portsmouth penalty area. McQuaid just hanging around the edge of the box. Almost had joy from that position right at the end of the first half. So free kick floated in. It's gone right the way through though, not the best delivery, and Portsmouth clear it away. Here's McQuaid. Loves to take players on and run with the ball, doesn't she? She was getting away from Barker, who needs to be careful having just been booked. Joel over the free kick. Referee having a word with Sophie Quirk, who was nowhere near 10 yards away when it was taken. Here's Cooper. Turn by Hayward. Now body. It's a promising run by Baker. Here's Stobbs into the penalty area, good chance. And Baker fired it straight at Annetts. That's better from Newcastle and more like the sort of play we saw from them in the first half. Amber Keegan-Stobbs just towing the ball through. Lovely first touch from Katie Baker. And then fired it straight at the Portsmouth goalkeeper, Eve Annetts. Sibley. After those 3 substitutions with Hales, Lumsden and Andrews going off, it means that not a single player on the field has scored a goal this season. Hales had 2, Andrews scored in this game, and Lumsden scored the other goal for Newcastle so far in this campaign. Portsmouth have yet to score this season. Portsmouth about to make a change, and Emma Jones is going to be replaced by 19-year-old Emily Pittman. It wasn't the best of throws, was it? But it's come back to Quirk, who feeds it in behind for Hornby. Dangerous ball across the box. Not enough numbers in there though for Portsmouth. Nice footwork by Sibley. He stops for Newcastle. Out wide to Baker. Plenty of options in the centre. Baker whips the ball across. It was just too high though for Sibley, who was arriving at the back post, and Quirk is happy to see that behind for a goal kick. And now Portsmouth can make their first changes. Emma Jones replaced by Emily Pittman. Jones had that chance early in the second half for Portsmouth. And Sophie Quirk is being replaced by Lily Dent, 18-year-old who's on loan from WSL side Brighton and Hove Albion. It's made 3 appearances for Brighton. Dent came through the youth ranks at Brighton, also had a spell at Sutton United's youth team. Again there in the under-11s. Stokes throw. It's over 20 minutes to go. It remains 1-0. Amy Andrews' goal on 34 minutes. All that separates the two sides in terms of the score. Newcastle have been much the better team. Certainly in the first half. Here's Stobbs. Beginning to get on top again now though. Stobbs turning into trouble. Here's Body. Cooper. Now Joel. Stobbs. And the return ball wasn't the best, and Izzy Collins comfortably able just to shepherd that behind for a goal kick for Portsmouth. Collins. Now McLaughlin. Shifted on by Barker. No matter how much Newcastle have been in control of this contest, well, it remains at 1-0. There remains hope for Portsmouth. Sibley. Wasn't strong enough though. Well defended by Collins. Here's Daisy McLaughlin, who's come across to the left side now since Quirk was taken off. Here's Joel. Away from Hornby, now Stobbs. Stobbs and Body have been terrific in the centre of that Newcastle midfield. Now Isabella Sibley. Chance to run at Coan. Sends the ball in first time. And it's did well. Just to grab it ahead of Katie Baker. Good running from Isabella Sibley. 2 substitutes almost combining, but Annette did well. Ball down the line now for Dent. Just holds it up. Lost the opportunity to send the cross in on the run, but it is a throw. Decision from Jay Sadler today to put Eve Annette, the 18-year-old, into the side ahead of Hannah Horton. He played the opening 3 matches of the season. Much more experienced 32-year-old keeper. And she certainly hasn't let anyone down, Eve Annette, in her Portsmouth debut. Manchester City eyes will be watching on keenly to see how she performs this season in the Championship. Header by Dent. And it's gone all the way through to Moan. Well, Pittman and Dent are on, but again, the lack of service to the Portsmouth front players is going to leave them with the same problems that Emma Jones and Sophie Quirk had before them. Collins quickly takes a throw. Trying to inject a bit of urgency into the Portsmouth play. Here's Barker. Haven't just lost those 3 games, Portsmouth. They've lost all of them by 3 goals or more. 2 3-0 defeats, and then last week's 4-0 hammering by Birmingham. Touchback by Body. Confident ball out from Moan to Lois Joel. Nobody closing her down. She's been allowed to carry the ball a long way. Rode the tackle well after a terrible touch. And here's Sibley. Now Newcastle are in behind. Can Sibley pick somebody out? It's flicked across, and it's a tap in for 2 from Jasmine McQuaid. Newcastle double their advantage. And Jasmine McQuaid, a worthy goal scorer. He's had a really good game in there for Newcastle. Lovely football from Newcastle. And Sibley, the substitute, took it right to the byline, fed the ball across. The attempt at the back heel finish from Katie Baker not coming off. And then Jasmine McQuaid making absolutely no mistake from close range. And it is Portsmouth 0, Newcastle 2. And that surely now is the 3 points wrapped up for Newcastle United. They needed that second. Here's Dent. Well, they're certainly worth the 2-goal lead, Newcastle. Stops. That's a free kick. Touch of cramp. Heading towards the final quarter of an hour. Let's take a look at that second Newcastle goal. The space Sibley has here, but the presence of mind as well, just to drive on towards the Portsmouth defence. Would have been a neat finish by Baker, wouldn't it? But McQuaid just quicker than McLaughlin. Tap in for McQuaid, but certainly a deserving goal, her first of the season. Header by Castley. Katie Baker with the throw. She's been good actually since she's come on for Newcastle. That chance when she fired straight at Annette, and should probably have scored that one before McQuaid did finish it off. Switched out by McLaughlin. Collins. Go out of play. It was neat play from Newcastle. McQuaid, now Sibley. Just held up by Coan this time. Joel offering support, and here is Joel. Still full of running Newcastle. Sibley. That was a really strong challenge from Izzy Collins. It's a Newcastle throw. So we're going to make another change. So Olivia Watt could be coming on. Stops went down with cramp a couple of minutes ago. Interesting to see whether it's the end of Stobbs' afternoon. Joel with the throw. McQuaid. Poor first touch from McQuaid. We haven't said that too much today. Cooper. It's McQuaid. Body. Just played that behind Stokes and they lost a bit of a momentum of the attack, but it's with Baker now. Really promising season ahead for Newcastle. Ambitious long-range effort. It wasn't too far away. Annetts was happy to see it wide. Set up nicely for Body and decided why not, even from there. Well off target in the end. Stokes. Throw for Portsmouth. It's going to be a double change for Newcastle. That will complete the substitutions for Becky Langley. From Collins. And they're going to make no substitutions now, are they, Newcastle? No, Portsmouth get on with it. Whipped across the penalty area, but straight into the hands of Moen. Very comfortable afternoon, Claudia Moen in the Newcastle goal. Back now with Castley. There's Barker. It's going to be a throw again.
Substitutions for Newcastle in the field, number 19, Rachel Furnace. Replaced by number 23, Charlotte.
So Furnace replaced.
Also in the field, number 12, Deanna Cooper. Replaced by number 5, Liv Watt.
And Deanna Cooper is coming off as well for Watt. So a double change at the back for Newcastle.
Triple substitution for Pompey, leaving the field, number 25, Izzy Collins.
Triple change for Portsmouth. Collins off for McEwen.
Also leaving the field, number 4, Sophie Barker.
And Sophie Barker
Number 14, Annie Wolf.
is going off as well to be replaced by Annie Rolfe.
And finally leaving the field, number 11, Daisy McLaughlin.
And Daisy McLaughlin replaced by Georgie Freeland.
Then replaced by number 7, Georgie Freeland.
That's all the substitutions done then. 9 minutes to go. Here's Castley. Portsmouth on the front foot here. The substitute Freeland. Taken away by Watt. One back by Erin McLaughlin. Both teams have used all 5 substitutes now. There's McQuaid. Well played again by McQuaid. Oh, that's going to be a yellow card, surely. It's a blatant tug on the shirt. Well, that is very, very lenient referee. Right in front of the referee. It's only just come on, Annie Rolfe. Sibley. Cut back across by Potts.
Portsmouth manager got yellow card.
Now there was a yellow card there for somebody on the Portsmouth bench. I'm not sure if it was Jay Sadler or one of his coaching staff, but the referee definitely went across and showed a yellow card. Here's Joel. McQuaid. Here's Sibley. Sibley's done well since coming on, has that assist as well for McQuaid. Now Joel. Sibley again in space behind the Portsmouth defence. Pulled it back once more, but Newcastle did well to cut it out. Portsmouth looking tired and well beaten here. It's looking a question of how many now for Newcastle. There's McQuaid.
There was a yellow card to someone on the bench.
Fired across by McQuaid. And then McLaughlin clears. Towards Hornby.
Walked over to the bench and gave the yellow card.
And well defended by Newcastle. Charlotte Potts, who's just come on, by the way, scored in that WNL Cup semi-final against Portsmouth at St James's Park. Scored the opening goal in that game to make it 1-0. Portsmouth's equaliser, for the record, was scored by Emma Jones, who's no longer on the field, replaced by Emily Pittman. The first league meeting between the two clubs, very much going the way of Newcastle. Andrews and McQuaid with the goals. And by Stokes. Held up by Sibley. There's Joel. Ball over the top for McQuaid. And rather than run onto it, decided to try and bring it down from a difficult height. And gave Grace McEwen the chance she needed to take it away. And well played. Goal kick for Portsmouth. 4 minutes to go. Here's Castley. Clip forward, away by Joel. Freeland battling for the loose ball. Now Castley. The pressure they've been under at times, Castley Cohen and the goalkeeper Annette have done pretty well to keep the score at 2. There's McEwen. Stepping away from McQuaid. Hutchins. Still going into the penalty area. It's opened up for the chance here for Pittman. And just past the post. And Portsmouth still unable to get that breakthrough goal this season. That's what this match has become about now. Good first couple of touches from Pittman. The first one blocked, the second one not too far away. I think Moam would have had it covered anyway.
Today's Wesley Park attendance is 1,085. Thank you for all of your wonderful support this afternoon.
1,085, the official attendance at Wesley Park. Castley. Freeland made the run out to the right, but it's switched instead to Lily Dent. Dent out to Hutchins. Now Freeland. Now McLaughlin. And there will be 4 minutes added on at the end of this game. Well, clipped into the penalty area. Chance now maybe for Portsmouth, and off the top of the crossbar. Well, they're getting closer. Good work in towards the penalty area. And Hornby unable to finish it off. A couple of chances at least late on for Portsmouth. They're on the back foot now because here's McQuaid and Katie Barker. Step over, looking for the far corner. Dent. Just can't keep that in play, Pittman. Joel's throw. To the keeper from Potts. And now Joel. The only surviving member of the original back three that started this game, Lois Joel. He's had a good game, getting forward as much as defensively. And Sibley now. And it's played in behind. Good chance here for number 3 for Newcastle. And it's a terrific save from Annette to deny Sophie Hayward. There's McQuaid. Well, that really should have been 3-0, and Hayward will be disappointed not to get off the mark for Newcastle. Barker gets the shot away and straight at Annette. Doesn't need asking twice. Katie Barker's been really good. Actually, the substitutions have worked well for Newcastle. Sibley and Barker in particular have played well since coming on. Hayward's been lively. Shows how well stocked they are, really. One can take off the likes of Andrews and Hales and Lumsden. Let's not forget, the score was only 1-0 as well when Becky Langley did that. Headed by Watt in his body. The whistle's gone. Free kick for Newcastle. Sure, Hornby did a lot there, in fairness. Body seemed to jump into her, if anything. So Newcastle have grabbed themselves a second goal, but this really should have been a third. Sophie Hayward, all the time in the world to pick a spot, and went low. Annette's sticking out the left leg and making another fine save. It's had a collection of them in this game, Eve Annette's. Interesting to see whether she starts the next game for Portsmouth at West Ham in the League Cup, or whether Hannah Horton is back in. 2 trips to London coming up. West Ham in midweek, group stage of the League Cup, and then London City Lionesses next Sunday. And then in 2 weeks' time, it's Portsmouth against Southampton. Watch by Moen. Seconds or so to go. Here's Reva Castley. After a nervy start to the game, has played really well defensively for Portsmouth. And this Freeland scoreline would have been much worse had it not been for her performance at the centre of that defence, with Hannah Cohen as well. Needs a special mention. But a good debut for Eve Annette's in the Portsmouth goal. Not too bad defensively. It's going forward where the problems lie. Just a minute away now from a 4th successive game without a goal. Hutchins. Formby made the run down the line. Cummingfield instead to Freeland. Rolfe. Newcastle on the hunt again. Hayward made the run. And this time she's offside. Launch forward, but difficult one to control for Annie Hutchins. A yellow card shown there, I think, to Demi Stokes. You can imagine it's only for time wasting. Strange yellow card to get when you're leading 2-0 at this late stage. There's Sophie Barker in the book. There's the only 2 bookings on the field in this contest. It is 4 defeats from 4, and they have still yet to score a goal. Portsmouth well beaten here at Wesley Park in the battle of the 2 promoted clubs. Newcastle well and truly coming out on top, more convincing than they did in the cup semi-final that they met in last season. The first half goal from Amy Andrews, the second half goal from the impressive Jasmine McQuaid. It has finished here, Portsmouth 0, Newcastle United 2.
Behind the goal at the turnstile end of the ground. And we look forward to welcoming you to Croughton Park on Sunday the 13th of October. Play up Pompey.
So a comfortable win for Newcastle United. They move on to 7 points from their opening 3 games. Went very close to taking the lead there through Rachel Furness off the outside of the post. Got into their stride very early on, Newcastle. They were creating chance after chance. Amy Andrews, poor touch there, letting herself down. Annette's pouncing on that. Hales playing Andrews in again. Good first save. And then the follow-up into the side netting. Could have had a hat-trick in the first half, Amy Andrews. Jasmine McQuaid here. Clipping Andrews through, and with the outside of the foot, stabs it into the roof of the net. Assist and a goal for Jasmine McQuaid. Lovely ball. Andrews finishing it off well. Andrews trying to set up Hales with the chance here. And again, Annette's standing firm. And there was still time for former Portsmouth player Beth Lumsden to test the palms of Eve Annette's. Into the second half, and Portsmouth finally got a shot away. Emma Jones, straight at Claudia Mohan though. McQuaid continually causing problems for the Portsmouth defence. Routine save though for Annette, a bit of a deflection on that one. Stubbs here, playing the ball in to Katie Barker. We've got a bit of power on it, but straight to Annette once more. And then lovely football here. Isabella Sibley away. Barker run to the front post. Couldn't get the flick she was hoping for, but there was Jasmine McQuaid involved in both of the Newcastle goals. Setting up Andrews for the first and scoring the second for herself. And capping a fine performance. Portsmouth rallied late on, trying to score their first goal of the season. Megan Hornby off the top of the crossbar as close as they got. And Sophie Hayward really should have made it 3-0 for Newcastle right at the end. Clean through on goal. But another good save from Eve Annetts. It is looking, though, like a long, hard season, isn't it, for Portsmouth? But a really bright start for Newcastle. 7 points from 9 for them. Portsmouth still without a point, without a win, and without a goal. It's finished Portsmouth 0, Newcastle United 2.